Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Revival of America podcast. This is Jenny. I'm the owner and the host of the Revival of America. Today we have Captain Kyle in the house, everybody. So please, if you have a question for Captain Kyle, feel free to raise your hand and I will unmute your mic at some point in this podcast. Or if you can't speak, please write your question underneath his picture on the wall, and myself or Kelly will read the questions also at some point in this podcast. Also, again and again and again and again, please be careful, everybody, who you're listening to, following, and what you're putting into your mind. I just got off of the podcast with Dallas and went and sat over in another podcast with Alpha Warrior for just a little bit over on X, and they were talking about this exact same thing. Please, everybody, the scammers, the trolls, the agitators, the operatives, all of that, they're all out there, everybody, and they're creating the divide, the blackpilling, the division, the scamming, all of that stuff, and it's very, very dangerous what is going on. So I know there's this new scam going around in regards to paying some money up front to then turn over all your currency. Then to be able to participate in it, you have to pay a $10,000 amount yearly on it. So everybody, that's a red flag. So again, common sense, everybody. If you get somebody that's trying to con you into something like that, more than likely, if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. So, and if you get a random text from myself or saying it's from me, Captain Kyle, Kelly, SG on any of us, we always say we don't randomly reach out to you and ask you if you're ready for the scare event. We don't talk to you about your finances, crypto, anything like that. If you get something like that, please block, report it, let us know so we can make sure they are not here in our channels. Also, too, if you come into the podcast late, everybody, you can follow the podcast on the podcast hosts, which are iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, Google, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Podbean, Riverside, Amazon Music. Social medias are Jenny Dreed Facebook at Jenny_Dreed X, at JDreed Rumble, at JDreed Instagram, at JDreed True Social, the Revival of America right here on Telegram, and then the Revival of America YouTube. And then, of course, my TikTok. I did put a video up yesterday. That's at the official JDreed. The three that are not verified yet are TikTok, YouTube, and True Social, just because I am waiting for the verification on that. I am doing that for you guys to know that those are my legitimate accounts, because unfortunately we all have these imposters, and I found one the other day and I put it on the wall to warn you guys. So please, everybody, I can't tell you enough, just be careful. Please, please, please. Also, too, we are being listened to in over 100 countries, so we are making some noise, some good positive noise. Stay out of that negative noise. There's a lot of negative bullshit, like I just said, going on out there. Hang on to the positives, everybody. We are winning, winning, winning. What Trump is doing is absolutely amazing. He is a national treasure. Pay attention to him, because he is making moves, and he is making them quickly. So please, everybody, hang on to those positives, because again, we are winning this battle. Also, too, if you have a story or a journey to tell, please reach out to me at the Revival of America at yahoo.com, and we will get your story on the show and your voices heard, because remember, everybody, it's your stories, your journey that are going to help shape this new world that we are coming into very soon. And then last but certainly not least, go to the website, therevivalofamerica.com, sign up for the newsletter. It is free. You'll get the latest updates on the podcast, as well as the weekly newsletter that gives a show lineup of the guests, dates, times, and all of that fun stuff. So without further ado, we've got our handsome Mr. Captain Kyle in the house with his ball cap on today. What's up?
I do.
What are you doing? Are you four-wheeling?
I'm driving to one of my little secret cubby holes that I got over by the water. And,
Damn, I thought you were going to fly out your sunroof right there, what you just hit.
I'm only doing like 80.
Oh my goodness. So everybody, give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear Captain okay. We're going to do a mic check for Captain Kyle.
Yes, let's do a mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2. I'll do.
You guys hear him okay? Kelly, can you hear him okay?
Yes, I can hear him fine, thank you.
Scott, can you hear him okay?
I can hear him.
Okay, all right, let's roll, Captain Kyle. Let's talk about what's going on over there with Trump and all the great moves he's doing right now.
Well, it's amazing that whenever you have an individual like Trump actually show up on the scene and is treated like a king, it's because it's exactly what we have told people for years that he actually had the sword of the sword dance, which represented the highest position within that country at that time, period. And it has never changed. They have always viewed him as their leader. And it's funny that when the Saudi media actually came out and said, yeah, he's the president of the world, and they're treating him just as he is a royal. No other president, no other individual ever has been received with the kind of respect and honor that President Trump has, and has basically shown the world. The media here, they can't help it, but they're just dumbfounded, because everything that they have tried to do to make it look like he is something that is to be um, kicked out.
Uh-oh, you froze. You're frozen. We can't hear you. He must be in a bad spot. Captain, can you hear us? We can't hear you. All right, everybody, we'll give him a second to come back. Oh, there he is. Go ahead, Captain.
Okay.
You're cutting in and out. No. Okay. Say something. Okay, we can hear your music. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, the deal is that the internet has been horrible today. I've had issues with it all day long. I've got messages from AT&T, like my internet and stuff, but it's also the construction next to my house. They actually cut the fiber optic lines again, and it took it out completely at home, so I don't even have that as an option. So basically, I'm just trying my best to find a adequate place to be able to continue having this chat with you guys. So we'll do our best, okay?
Amen. Sounds good. Thanks, Captain. You're doing good. You're doing great so far. So yeah, so you were talking about, oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, let me go back to that. So basically, you have the Saudi media actually saying him as the president of the world. I think I might have actually made that very statement that he is the actual president of the world, not the American president of the world, but the actual president of the world. And because he is the highest commander in chief of all nations that capitulated to him, and he's been running the freaking show with the military and the military alliance basically this entire time, ever since 2017 and 2018, after the capitulation tour. Do we need to re-show that so everyone can see it all over again? Because that's what it was. Nothing changed. Only did it step back so that they could operate behind the scenes and then have the puppet put into place so that they could further advance what the deep state plan was, so that the normal person, everyday people around the world, could actually finally see just how corrupt that they are and what their true intention was. And they did it where they were backstopping it so that it never got out of control, but it had to happen, period. And that's what's happened. You can't just tell them, you have to show them. Everything had to be shown. And that's what we're going through right now, is the exposure of it and everything falling and collapsing under its own corrupt weight. And once that's happened, so many people have woken up because of this. They don't even know why. The way that they're feeling right now is a lot of people, just everyday people, are having a hard time just going through the motions of the same old job, they can't plug into it, and they don't understand why. And it's because everything is changing and they have no idea what's happening to them. You guys are so important. I've said this so many times. You are important. God woke you up for a reason, to help you understand this, to help strengthen you, and to help get you prepared for those people that are in your circle of influence, that you can help process what they're going through right now. You have a major opportunity to just show these people love and to help guide them into their new awakening, because that's exactly what's happening. Their new awakening.
So Captain, we were seeing this enormous amount, I mean, exposure over there in the Middle East with him, what's going on with the escorts from the horses. I mean, this is literally showing you like this is royalty, right? And
Yes.
we have presidents and presidents here in the States, but everywhere within the world, it's prime ministers, kings, it's queens, it's all this stuff, princesses. Do you think we are going to see Trump being called the king of the world instead of this president of the United States? Do you think we're going to get all these a whole new title for all of this?
I've already said that Trump eventually is going to step down and be the emissary to the world, to make sure that all of the world is operating and functioning under the Nasara Jasara agreements that have already been made, have already been signed, and basically overseeing them and facilitating that everything is being done exactly the way it's supposed to. Whether it be in a year from now or 2 years from now, it's going to happen.
Awesome. Thank you, Captain. Shoot. Okay, so we're talking. So you just talked about Nasara Jasara real briefly. We'll touch on this real quickly, everybody, and then go ahead and start raising your hands. I have unmuted a few mics, but once we get to a certain amount of participants, everybody, unfortunately, I don't get to see the hands. So please start raising your hands. So we're hearing some dates coming up. Memorial Weekend, the 26th, and then we're also hearing Trump's birthday, June 14th. And then obviously, the World Fair going into next year, July 4th. Can you maybe touch a little bit on what your opinion is for the 26th? Because Trump even talks about Memorial Weekend, right, this year, with the celebration, the 250-year celebration. And then also, can you talk about the 14th on his birthday, the parade that they're supposed to have? And do you foresee anything with the Nisar Jasar or any of that money factor thing kind of coming to fruition to the public to see?
I don't think that there is a correlation between any of these actual events that have to do with that actually taking place. Those are represented those are representative time markers on events, yes, but how we're moving forward in the overall plan. But as far as when the Nasara is going to drop and when the taxes and all this, nobody knows. And this is on purpose. I mean, 100% on purpose. Everyone knows that they know it's coming. But the deal with that is that the RV, these trade deals, okay, they all have to be signed and they all have to be basically in the public space, so to speak, because that's what Nasara and Jasara is all about. It's about world trade and equal currencies and an equal playing field across the world. And we had to establish these new agreements because we are no longer under the corporate construct. They have to be done and have to be fulfilled out into the public space. That's what's happening. And once this is actually done, so to speak, which I believe it's already done, but as far as rolled out into the public, that is the thing that you can start to look for as the markers of the closer we're getting to the plug being pulled completely, because that's going to say that the world is ready to trade and trade under the new agreements, because these new agreements have to do with us all having a currency that's not manipulated and based upon debt. So these other events have significance in different areas. But as far as the most important thing for us having the Nasara Jasara part of that, and the freedom from the financial, which is one of the first things that will actually happen after we go through a very difficult time of the collapse, because everything's being blown up right now. It's being blown up into a nice big old fat balloon that is going to pop, and when it pops, it's going to devastate people, because it's all fraudulent, because that's what fiat system is. It can't sustain itself. If you look at all of the trends that, if you go on to like major money sites where they're actually brokers and traders that have been very successful over, a lifetime, 20, 30, 40 years career of the trends within the financial system, the market, employment, and everything else, and how those trends are all actually, and I'm talking about globally, not just here in the United States, but how they all trend together shows that we are basically heading into a major upheaval in a recession. And this is all a part of the normal cycle that's supposed to be expected. And so everything else that's happening right now is trying to basically offset that and show some other picture other than what's really coming down the pike. And it's going to pop. And when it pops, there has to be something behind it that's going to backstop it, so that we don't have those collapse that we've had in the past. But this time the collapse is going to be so substantial that it's going to just basically pretty much take out the world financially in that aspect. It's like, you have to think about some of the global financial banks and institutions, China and everywhere else, that have collapsed and have basically defaulted on their money, and they are completely insolvent. And if you look at that and how insolvent they are based upon right now and what's happened over the last year to 2 years with Evergrande and everything else, it would be like taking what happened in 2008 and putting it on steroids. And they have been just completely holding it up to where it's just print more money, put out more fake credit, hold it all up, and just continually keep on propping it up as much as they possibly can. But it is going to collapse. And when that happens, it's going to be devastating. The good thing about that is that when it does collapse, there will be a actual real financial currency exchange that comes into place that brings everything well past where it was at, up to a level that nobody could even grasp, comprehend, because no one has ever seen the level of change in which is coming. And so when they tell us the best is yet to come, it is. But before that, we're going to have to go flat out on our face. We have not had the precipice, nowhere near. We've had a lot of struggles. We've had a lot of issues, so to speak. But those issues and struggles have made you and opened up those spiritual muscles of yours over time to enhance the abilities of you becoming more and more grounded spiritually on what's happening inside versus what's happening on the outside. Um, Everything is not as it appears. I'm gonna do I got 3 videos that Kelly and then put together for me. I've got them. I haven't done it yet, but about the people in China are not what people think it is. It's not no 1.3 or 1.5 billion people. Not even close. They may have 300 million. And I do have the videos and I am going to post them. I'm going to put it all together here in the next few days and bring it to light, because it is a reality that they have been basically lying to us, which, oh, that's a shocker, about everything. Everything has been a lie. And when the more you actually become spiritually grounded and work from that spirit on the inside, the more truth is opened up to you, and you understand and you find and you believe things in which are being given to you in a way that resonates with your spirit, and it is not what you see. Because if you keep looking at everything by your eyes, then you're not going to find anything. And that's not how we find anything. And I'm going to do another one I've got coming up here too that I'm working on, and it's inside right now trying to find its way out. And it's about the I am and what that truly means. And when Christ said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And what does that mean? And it's based upon Habakkuk 2:4. The just shall live by his faith. What does that mean? The faith in the Father. That's the I am. And anytime you represent the I am, it's the Father. It is that in which is the only thing that is true. And you can have all your faith in that in which is always faithful to those things in which he says, because he cannot tell a lie. And when Christ said, when you see me, you see my Father. Why? Because that was in him. That was the I am in him. Same thing. The I am is also in you. We all are. And I'm going to get a whole lot more into it, but it is all about going inside and dealing with the spirit that dwells inside each and every one of us. And that's where the answers are. You don't have answers from your eyes. You get answers by bypassing your head and going to your heart, because that's where the answers are.
I love that, Captain. Thank you. Are you going to do a podcast on that, or what are you going to do? You'll post that, right? If you do?
I don't know how I'm going to do it yet.
Okay.
It's still kind of, I might maybe a truck talk. I don't know. It's still working its way out. Until it actually gives me the direction of how it wants me to bring it, I don't know yet. So I'm just giving you the nugget
gist
of it, of what's coming, and it is truth. And how that needs to be delivered, I don't know yet, and that's what I'm trying to work out.
All right. Well, you'll keep us posted. We'll see it. So everybody watch for that. No pressure, Captain. Just watch for a possible truck talk or 2 or 3. So thank you for sharing that. I hate. I mean, how do you divert from that to my next question? Okay. So you were talking about and then And then we'll go into hands, everybody, and questions. So if you guys want to raise your hand and ask Captain a question, please do so. Because again, I can't see your hand after a certain amount of participants. So in your opinion, and this will be my last question, everybody, in your opinion, Captain, when this all goes down, the collapse of the market, right? In your opinion, how long do you think it's going to be that we are going to have that gut punch, right? Whatever that may be. Because I had a show last night with Juan, and he said the exact same thing that Captain just said. We have not seen the precipice yet, so it is coming here to America, and it's imminent. So, but when that does go down, like you just expressed, how long, in your opinion, you think that we're going to be having that trial period, if you will, until we go into the new, to where the greatness comes?
I don't think it's going to be long, just enough to bring the true reality of what it could possibly mean if that wasn't backstopped and prepared for. It's got to touch everybody, and it's got to bring forth that awareness that the destruction almost took us all out. And I mean, even those people that are financially secure and their God is money, unfortunately, because that is where they put their faith. They put their faith in their ability and what they can do with what they have done. It has nothing to do with that. They're trusting in their spiritual guidance and something that is greater than themselves. So they put all that trust in those things in which they accomplish. And that's where their security comes from. That security has to be pulled out from underneath them to shake their foundation and fundamental belief system as well. And so that's coming. But it can't last too long, because the longer it lasts, the more unstable chaos will bring itself to light and be destructive. We don't need the destructive part of people on people and, being at a place where there is no hope, because a people without hope perish, and that can't happen. So even though their hope is challenged, it can't be completely removed. And this is where we're at. So whether it be a couple of days or 3 days or 5 days, whatever, it's going to be difficult, but it's not going to be too long. And when that happens, I'm gonna be dancing in the freaking street. I'll be that dude that's standing out there with the flag, waving it like when the hurricane's blazing by, because I know that this is the end. And so the worse it gets, the closer you are to the end of the turmoil, not the end of everything. That is going to be the beginning of greatness, of the true golden age. And so that's where we come into play. So important to be a emissary of peace and stability and calm, because that alone, you don't have to say a word to be in a state of calm peace in chaos and have people drawn unto you, because your radiance just exudes from you, and people recognize it immediately because they're expecting that same chaotic response that they're portraying, but they're not getting it. And immediately when that happens, they're drawn unto you. Why? They want it, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that eye in the storm, and that's what you need to be.
Amen to that, Captain. I'll be right there with you, dancing in the streets. And remember, everybody, the end isn't for us; it is for them. And I agree 1,000% with Captain. Things aren't always as they seem. So, with that, everybody, we're going to go into some questions. Kelly, are you good to read the questions on the wall, or do you want me to do it?
Yes, ma'am, I have them.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, so I'm going to call on 4 people up front. So like I said, everybody, Captain gives us normally 90 minutes of his time. So please raise your hand if you have a question. Colorado Mama, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted.
Good evening, guys. I just have a couple things to add. I am aware that the 15th is a huge date with the Treasury and that the USN possibly could go public. My question for you, Captain Kyle, is we know that there's a financial piece of this and there's a geopolitical side of this as well. Do you think the EAS is going to come out after there's a financial beginning to happen? I do know that there's some testing being done, and some people have received notice that their Social Security is going to be doubled this month. So those are my talking points.
Yeah, I knew the Social Security was coming. I actually talked about it. That I think it was a month or so ago that I knew it was coming. I just didn't know when. I'd already knew a couple of months ago that it was happening. The EAS, I don't know exactly what's going to be its trigger. But the trigger for the EAS, you have to understand that it's not for any specific area. It's global. The global EAS has been set up and tested and put into play for a long period of time now, so that there is no one that would not be able to receive information, whether it be in the middle of BFE nowhere. So satellites were put up specifically to reach any and all different places around the world, plus communication through Starlink. It's all been strategically planned so that everyone, no matter where you're at, is going to be able to get the information. And so it's something that has to be so significant that it's to advise the entirety of the public on what is actually happening and what they expect us to do because of what is going on. It's a communication system to bring information in the midst of complete chaos. Just like if you were tornadoes and storms and they come to your local area, it's to warn you of the storm impending, what's expected, power's out, whatever, areas are closed down. It's to bring forth information so that the people can have a conduit of information during that crazy time. So I don't know what the trigger is. I don't think it's going to be something that's the trigger that triggers the EAS when we talk about the financial immediately, because something can happen to cause the financial to collapse here in the United States, which would then start to ripple around the world immediately. And within a day or two, other things could actually happen as a result of that, opportunistically, that would then bring out the EAS. So don't really know. We're gonna have to go through it and kind of experience it, because it's all event driven, every bit of it.
Thank you. The last thing I'd like to add, if I might, is that I know that there's 20 items of NASARA that they're happy to get this thing started. So, and we're talking imminently. So I'm hearing you say things are very, very close. So I'm very excited. It's very positive. And owner of this channel, Revival, I would love for you to give me a call afterwards. I have some information for you. Thanks.
Absolutely. Get with Kelly, and then then she can get it to me.
Real quickly, Colorado Mama, are you talking about you want me, Jenny, to get in touch with you, or Captain Kyle?
Jenny.
Okay,
Or
so
Captain,
you want me to...
You probably both want to talk to me. Okay.
Okay,
Thanks.
so why don't you, can you do me a favor? Can you touch my avatar and Kelly's down there and let us know? I don't, you said call you. I don't have your number. Can you give me a
My
little bit
number's
of
listed in
synopsis?
it's in Telegram.
Okay, can you
Okay, yeah,
can
just
you
give,
send me,
yeah,
can
just
you
give
send
her
me a
Kelly.
little synopsis of
Yep.
just, yeah. Okay, thank you.
It's about what you opened with, okay?
Okay. Oh, yeah, gotcha. Okay, thank you so much. And we will be talking about that more with Alpha Warrior on Friday. If I'm talking about the same thing as you are, Colorado Mama. Okay, let's see. Let's go with Forever Ann. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, great to talk to you guys. Thank you. I have two
Hello.
quick questions. I know that the RV, everybody keeps saying it's coming, it's coming. Something like that, kind of a transition. Is that really going to happen before the big crash, so that we're prepared to help people during that, or is it going to extend to after that? Do we have any clue on that? And then my second question is on the debt forgiveness. It seems that even the IRS has sold some of their debt and starting to, I've got friends calling saying, what do I do now? They've sent a collection agency and, their credit cards and things like that. Do we see that that would also be coming in the next few months, probably after the big collapse, because nobody can afford anything? So, and thank you again for everything.
So this is where people need to understand that it is not actually debt forgiveness. That is a incorrect statement.
Okay.
It is actually because it is usury interest, and fiat debt is actually been illegal. They actually had to pass back during the 16th Amendment and all that crap, where it would actually be able to bring in the Federal Reserve, because it goes against our Constitution of being able to use anything other than actually gold or silver, actual something of value to pay for a debt. So it is illegal to pay a debt with a debt. That's what you've been doing this entire time. And they create money out of nothing and then charge you interest on that creation of money that didn't exist to start with. Usury interest. It's all illegal. So the contract for every debt that you have ever facilitated was illegal in its contractual agreement with you. Now, the interest and all of that is what is illegal in it, not the actual good that you got from it. So if you bought a house, then the house, whatever you purchased for that house, say a $300,000 house, well, that was a $300,000 house of value that is going to be expected to be paid. But if you've paid $600,000 plus $300,000 for the actual house itself, the interest will be basically what is accredited back to you because it was illegally taken from you. The value of the house, no, that ain't how it works. You got something for it. You bought something. And so the debt forgiveness is not just forgiving debts. It's about the way that the debt was created.
Okay, and that, if you don't mind me interrupting for a second, so that I understand that, so that makes sense. So people that are getting lawsuits against them right now, should they be following through with those other laws where the third party is illegal? And is it really more about the people doing the steps to follow the true laws, or
So,
Real quick,
waiting
well,
for when
real
everything
quickly.
changes?
no,
Hang on just a second, Captain. Captain, before you answer that, is that your AC? We're getting a little bit of wind noise in the background. It's kind of overriding your voice. I don't know if it's your AC.
It may be.
Okay, better, much better. Go ahead.
Okay, so basically, right now, I would strongly suggest continuing to follow the system that is in place, and until the system is changed. I myself have been going through legal situations for years and years and years, basically for the last 18 years, or maybe 20, and have gone through 6 different cases of different situations. I've won every single one of them. And I'm actually right now in the receivership of the last case I just won, where they committed fraud, and a attorney's office actually committed malpractice and had to have their malpractice insurance come into play. So with that circumstance, knowing all along that none of this actually truly mattered, I still went down this path, and I still played within the rules in which govern everything right now in the public domain until it actually changes.
Awesome. Thank you. That's what I was thinking should be done. Have you done a show on that with the details of some of
No, I
that?
have not. I've not talked about people and things that I do in my personal life.
That's fine.
I've been
I understand.
fighting the corporate fight and corporate battles legally. I've had attorneys on retainer for 20 years.
Okay. No, I appreciate all of that. Thank you so much.
And
That's
it
what I was
sucks.
sort of thinking.
Sucks.
Yes,
Great.
I hate attorneys. Thank
It's
you.
the stress that you never get out from underneath.
Thank you, Ann.
Yes,
And
thanks.
it's a continuous thing. It's like, for the last several situations, I haven't brought my wife into it on purpose, because the stress that's involved in it is not good for her health. And so basically I've kept her completely out of it. She is a participant only in namesake, but outside of that, she has no participation whatsoever, and doesn't ask for anything other than the fact that she's like, okay, so we're supposed to go sign papers tomorrow. And it's like, yeah, either tomorrow or Friday to collect the checks. And so it's like, okie dokie.
She's along for the ride, right, Captain?
Yeah, because
God bless her.
it's a weight that you have to bear all the time, and you never really get out from underneath it because it's just always freaking there. And the way the courts are set up and designed, even with right now, it's like the delays intentionally are designed for them to continually charge and make money and postpone it to completely cause financial burdens by it, as well as the it disheartens you because it never ever seems to have a conclusion. It's just freaking madness. And the only ones that really truly prosper and make money out of it is the court, the attorneys, and all that kind of crap, because they're continually manipulating it on purpose to draw things out for a longer extended period of time, instead of a clean, quick, trial, jury, whatever, and get it over with. Well, they don't make any money that way, because they make money off of the hourly billing and all that other crap. So every phone call I have with my attorney, every correspondent, I get charged hourly. And so it's just like, the more that can happen, the longer that can happen, the more they actually make. And it is a freaking circus intentionally.
Thank you, Captain, for sharing that. All right, Deborah Bolick, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead and ask Captain Kyle your question. Go ahead, Deborah. Push the blue button in the middle of your screen. Okay, Oxy Texan, go ahead. Mike is unmuted. Oxy Texan, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead and ask Captain Kyle your question. Okay, everybody, if you guys request a mic and we unmute it, please, give us the courtesy to at least respond, because Captain gives us 90 minutes of his time. So, we kind of go with the flow here. So next one would be Helen. Your turn. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead, Helen.
Are you talking about me, Helen Fidelko?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I didn't think my hand was up. Hello. Thank you, Captain Kyle, for everything. I have a question regarding our Republic and buying the shares. If you buy the shares, does that mean you need to be involved in your local community and setting something up?
No, not at the moment. It's basically to facilitate the trust, and that is it.
Okay.
It will be registered. It will be registered with the county in which you're on. The next stage of that would actually be that trust being registered specifically in each of those counties, and it would be the next stage of it, which is coming very quickly. So
Okay.
it has to have, so all of the counties and everything have to have a place in which they can actually be put in trust of. And right now, that's what's being developed. That's what's actually being done for the national, for the North America. And so that whole situation has, if you listen to it closely, each part of this is one that gets developed for another, that gets developed for another. And it's like each one of them has like their own little baby, so to speak, for it to be adjoined to. It's like if you, I don't know if there's people in here that actually have trust or have a trust or anything like that, but there's lots of different ways for a trust to be set up, and a trust actually has that ability of beneficiaries. Okay, you're not the owner of it, but you are the owner of it because you're the actual beneficiary of it. But it's something that shields the beneficiaries to not be liable under the trust, because you're a beneficiary of something, even though it's completely yours and you have complete use of it. You can't be sued, and it protects you. And then you have a executor, which the executor, all that individual does is actually make sure that the trust itself is being taken care of by the rules of the trust itself. And then you can actually take other trusts and then put those other trusts, like personal trusts, myself and things of that nature, can put that as a part of the original trust, which double shields myself from any kind of liability. So even if someone's to sue me right now, all you would ever get, you could take me and I could do whatever, and the most you could ever get from me, because of the way I have everything in my financial world set up, is $1.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's awesome. Thank you very much, Captain Kyle. I appreciate you, Kelly, and Jenny, and everybody else that is doing such a great job for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your questions. Okay, Miss Kelly, it's your turn. I don't see any more hands here. So everybody, again, we're at 558. You can try to raise your hand. If I see it, I'll unmute you. Otherwise, it's all you, Kelly.
Okay. Facts prevail. The question is, President Trump making all these great executive orders. So why are the Republicans in Congress not voting on these bills to make them permanent? As the next president comes, will wipe out all the great executive orders President Trump has done. Thank you, Captain Kyle, for all you do, and God bless.
There's actually more to it than that, because actually Congress right now doesn't mean a hill of beans, because that is the Congress that is affiliated with the corporate construct. So it doesn't really matter. But what it is showing is exactly what that question actually entails, is why isn't the Congress doing what they're supposed to? Because we could actually transfer whatever laws and bills that they actually did, and we could actually transfer those into the new republic by very quick order, by just a simple vote. They're already been done. Yes, we want this one. No, we don't want that one. That's bad. So on and so forth. And then bringing those into the new republic. But why are they not actually doing it? Why is it that actually at this point, Donald Trump has had the least amount of bills to come to his actual desk to sign than any other president? When you have both the House and the Senate and a specific mandate from the people by overwhelming majority. Kind of tells a story, doesn't it? They're all fucking corrupt. And they're all going to get exposed. Because they're
Yeah, we
owned
just saw
by,
the vote on the Doge, the
yeah,
Doge vote. We just
yeah.
saw the ones that voted against that.
Yep.
Okay.
They are all owned by special interest, pharmaceutical companies, everybody else. They're, they have dual citizenship of the Israel. They are corrupt to the core, and the majority of them are all being exposed for that very thing right now. And that's what's coming out. We don't need them to do crap. And the least that they do, the more it shows where their allegiance truly is, because in their not doing anything shows exactly what they are doing. Nothing.
Okay. Captain, there's two questions here about NPCs. Michelle says, what are NPCs that Captain talks about? And then, let's see, Walter said, Captain Kyle says that at least 50% of the population are NPCs. Who created NPCs? Do they know they are NPCs? And will any NPCs ascend to 5D?
An NPC is a non-player control, and it's a part of the Matrix. They are not spirit and soul created by the Almighty God. They were created by the system. They were created under the construct of the archons that actually created the system that has imprisoned this planet. And no, none of the NPCs know that they are. They're a part of the programming. They are as real as anybody else in that aspect, but they do not know, and they will not go to 5D. Many of the NPCs are actually the things in which we see collaterally damaged on purpose, from mass killings, mass murders, all this other kind of stuff, because in the Matrix, they are only part of the Matrix and not actually children of God and creation. It's hard to grasp, but when you really know how this all works, you start to understand it all.
Okay, thank you, Captain. Jeff Q17 says, hi, Captain Kyle, and thank you for everything you do. My question is, if everything has to organically fall on its face as far as the destruction of the financial system, is it possible we are here 6 months or a year from now having these same discussions that we are super close and it's about to happen. I don't mean to be negative, but it does feel like we are super close to the finish line. But then again, no one really has a clue as to how the White Hats are going to conclude this or when.
No, it's not going to be that long, but the process of the rebuilding and the change does take longer because that actually has to be done. And that's a process that does take years. That in itself is only the beginnings of the transformation for us to actually develop into jump into 3D and so I mean to 5D. And so that's kind of like the pre-audition, pre-show performance for the actual show on actually changing and having people prepared for what's really going to happen or what's really to come when they get into 5D itself, because the reality is completely different. The understanding is completely different, and society and the societal norms are completely different. Everything is opposite of the way things operate right now. And that is going to be the leading up to and preparing people for that fundamental change and shift in their consciousness and preparing them for what is to come. But the change itself and everything happening, that can happen really very quickly. And I mean, just in a matter of days. And the thing is that we don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but when it does, it's going to be very swift. And the stage is being set for that very purpose right now.
Okay, Captain. And the last one here for me is Canoe 45. When we ascend to the new world, will it work the same for everyone, specifically the innocent, babies, children, teenagers, elderly, those who are fighting illnesses, mentally and physically handicapped?
What was the very first part of that? I missed it.
When we ascend to the new world, will it work the same for everyone?
What do you mean by that? What I don't understand the question.
I'm just reading it.
Who is that? Is that person?
Canoe
Yeah, can
45.
that person? Yeah, if they can be more specific. Then we can come back to that question. Go ahead,
I
Kelly,
mean,
and go on to the next one.
I
Or do
mean,
you get it, Captain?
in my perception of what the question may be asking is that it does everything works the same in 5D, meaning the that's when you receive your crystalline body. That's whenever you receive your expanded understanding and spiritual connection back to the source and your higher self and everything that you have forgotten about your existence and the existence of all reality before then. This is when you start actually operating and walking back in your gifts that you have always had, because you are a part of source, and that is what is really truly expected of you as the I am spirit.
Okay, Jenny, did you want me to read one more?
You know what? I'm gonna real quickly. Linda Mason, did you have a question? You had your
Yes, I do. Yes,
okay,
I
and
do.
then okay, real quickly, Linda. Okay, Kelly. So Linda's gonna go, and then I don't see any other hands, Kelly. So you can go ahead and just read your questions after Linda.
Thank you. I'm a retired person, retired last year in early July. I live on a county pension from the state of Michigan, and I also worked for 18 years for a major grocery chain in the Midwest. I heard on a podcast last night, I won't name who, and the speaker was saying that pensions will be eliminated, will be gone. That leaves me with Social Security to live on. Am I in fear of losing both pensions that I've worked over 30 years for?
No. Trump has always said 100% our pensions are actually safe. Now, will there be pensions moving forward for people that are starting these companies? No, they won't. They've already started to eliminate pensions in most of these companies and corporations going forward. Like the company that I work for, I have a pension, I have a 401k, I have all that stuff. But about 4 or 5 years after me hiring into the company I work for now, they don't have it anymore. It's been eliminated.
Okay.
And so they are actually moving away from pensions completely. But the situation is that all of these other financial benefits and blessings that are being established right now and set up, which is the bonds in which you have that are in your name,
Correct.
the QV account that is also a part of your trust, that is a part of you, that was established from your birth. But you also will have a part and to play in the sovereign fund of the people. Just like in the Arabic Emirates and all of those other countries over there, where each of the actual citizens of that country actually partake in the wealth of the country. And so they're all rich.
Right.
Intentionally, because that is the way it's set up to take care of their citizens, their people. And so this is what is being established right now here in the United States for that very thing. We have several trusts, two that I'm fully aware of, that are both in excess of $150 trillion. Two different ones. One is an actual financial money trust, and the other one is an endowment that is around 160 million. The other one is, I think, around 170. And so these are a part of, which will be a part of the sovereign fund. They had to have a place that they could actually pay out to as a beneficiary. It's like I was talking about earlier with having beneficiaries under a trust.
Right.
So you've got nothing to worry about.
Okay.
And neither does anyone else.
That gives me much peace.
So anything that people are talking about out there, they're talking about it in a means in which is part truths and not understanding the full picture of what's really coming. Because if they were, then they wouldn't be putting out information that would cause people to become alarmed at all.
Right.
Because in reality, there is nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, to be fearful of in where we're heading.
Okay. Yeah, God has seen me through many, many situations, and I'm sure He's not going to fail me or anyone else. I love you
No,
all,
it's not.
and I thank you so much for your time and all you folks do. You're a well, not a prophet, but you're a man of God, and I respect you so much.
So Elon just yesterday made the statement of talking about the new transition of the economies, coming from an oil-based economy, which is a carbon-based economy, into a technical tech economy. The tech economy is an economy where people do not work, because that's what the tech is designed for, is to make our economy huge in its size and be able to actually operate without us doing the labor for that economy, and becoming not a universal basic income, which was designed talking about preparing people for that sovereign fund being paid into to not work anymore and still be able to financially be blessed. But it's not a universal basic income. He's saying now it should be described as universal high income, because in reality, that's what it's truly going to be. And people are going to want for nothing, but you're still going to have to be participants in society to operate within the constructs of society. You're not going to be able to be a sloth, but the retirement age is going to go way down on what's expected, and the time in which you actually work is going to be way down, and it's mostly going to be designed so that the things in which we do is going to be designed for our own community organizations so that our communities can grow and prosper in a healthy, fundamental way that no one has time for. And so it all gets just put to somebody else. And that's all been done but by design.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Captain Kyle. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. It's a very good question. And I don't care who says these things, and it doesn't really matter. We'll see how it's all playing out. And in reality, it is what it's going to be. And I don't care what people say. I know my truths.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen. That's why we got to listen. Be careful who we're listening to, everybody, and what we're putting into our minds, because it's dangerous out there. Go ahead, Kelly.
Okay, Skeeter asked, lifespan of human clones. How to identify? Will they all just vanish? What percentage of population do you figure are clones? Do they know they are clones? Thanks for all you do. This page keeps me sane and feeling of belonging. Much love and gratitude.
No, they don't know they're clones. And the depends on the type of clone that was actually constructed, to how long that they actually last. Something that is brought into existence and age to a specific age and then starts to become in society as a replacement of an individual, um, those have a shorter lifespan than a clone that was cloned and then basically an NPC, where it's just brought into existence and grown like a kid growing up as a person for its whole life. Well, this is what has been happening, and there's been a very large number of those. Um, they do not have a soul and spirit. They do not know. They only have input, and they took on the input that was given to them, a identity that was given to them, and they don't know any different. But they do not have the empathy and compassion and love that comes from your spirit. So it really depends on the individual clone, on how long it's going to be around. And like I said, we're not going to be around long enough that that's going to matter anyway, because we don't have very much longer here on this plane of timeline.
Okay. You still good, Jenny?
Yeah, go ahead. I don't see any hands. We're at 613 participants, so I don't see any hands. So it's all you, my friend.
Okay. Thin Robar asks, since Captain lives in Houston, I'm wondering what his thoughts are about Ezra Cohen's warnings about 17 Cities, one event. Houston is on the list. He just posted less than 2 weeks ago, again with the get out of the cities.
Are you there,
Captain?
Captain?
Mm,
Hello, hello. Maybe you got a call. Oh, there he's gone. Poof.
yeah, he'll probably come back in.
So everybody, if you have a question you wanted to ask a captain here, I can't see any hands raised. So write your question on the back wall, and Kelly will under his picture on the wall, and Kelly will read that. If we, I think we've got a few questions on the wall. So if you guys have that question, go ahead and do so, and she can read it. And while we wait for Captain. And that was a good question. I think it was Linda Mason regarding your 401k IRAs. I think that's a great question because that's been put out there a lot that they're not going to be safe. And so I'm glad Captain answered that for you because I know a lot of people feel that same way as you. Go ahead, Captain.
I
He's
think I'm
back.
back. Yes, maybe. No.
You're back.
Yes,
Yes,
you're
sir.
back. Did you hear the question, Captain? About the
Am I
17th
here?
city list, Captain?
I can't hear anything.
Oh,
Oh,
darn.
we can hear you.
We,
There you
we,
are.
Hold on.
Hello?
yes. Can you hear us?
I can now. I don't
Okay,
know what's
good.
happening. I mean,
Did
I
you
got a
hear?
full I got full signal, everything.
Did you hear that last question, or would you like me to reread it?
About the city.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, look where I live. I mean, I don't live in the city of Houston. I live outside of the city of Houston, which is there's nothing really for me to be too concerned about. If I lived in the city itself, actually that close, I'd be much more concerned. But I've got I've got multiple plans for different types of scenarios. I have go bags, I have different options, and I have discussed those options with my wife, and I have alternatives to be able to get out of town if I need to go to our place in the country. And, you know, if that was to actually manifest and present itself for me to do, I would do it. And this is one of the reasons I drive a big truck like I drive, because I will make my way to be able to get to places that I need to get to if I had to. So I'm not too concerned about that.
Okay. Let's see.
It's always good to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, then you're planning to fail.
Carolyn Brown asked, in reality, how close are we to the end? Are we just believing in something that's never going to happen?
Well, it's your what is okay, let me take this a step further. What is your perception of the end? Because in my perspective of the end, it's already done. We're just catching up to it. I don't live by every day on the world telling me that it's over. To me, it's already over. They're catching up to where I know we're already at. I visit it all the time. Matter of fact, I was there last night. And when I came to you this morning, I really had a struggle trying to figure out where the hell I was at and what was going on, and trying to work myself back into this reality. That's just plain and simple. So whether it be a week or a month, it's all about where you live in peace in your spirit and what you're actually going through. The world's going to catch up to you, and it's all catching up immediately, quickly. And whether it's 6 months or whatever, if you're living in that peace and happiness right now, then it's already here, and it's just got to catch up to you. So where are you at? Not you as in the person that asked the question, but I'm asking it to anybody. Where are you at in your state of peace inside in your spirit and what's going on.
Okay. There are a couple people that asked about Australia, Captain Kyle. So do you want to just let them know that we're going to have Lieutenant on this Friday, there Saturday? So that
Yes,
would be a good time to talk about that.
absolutely. And the I think it'll be a great time for us to discuss that because you've gone through your that the elections and all the stuff that's been going on down there, and it'll be a good opportunity for Lieutenant Colonel to be able to talk about everything that is going on from his perspective, as well as mine as an outsider to actually being there personally, but knowing people that contact me. And uh, let's just wait until a couple of more days. If they don't mind.
Okay, great. All right. Mama Han asks, when the facts regarding the trafficked children and all the horrors go public, how do we begin to answer the question? How did God allow this? Oh, how do we begin to answer this question? How did God allow this to happen to his children? Thank you for your thoughts.
So God didn't actually allow it to happen. It was agreements by soul contracts of the individual, or not necessarily the individuals, but the rulers of this realm a long time ago. And in that, they are the ones that have imposed their sadistic will upon this creation point. But it was always known that it had a limited contract to it, and that it was going to expire. And when you're in a creation standpoint as creator or a godlike, because these individuals, the archons and Anunnaki, and they were godlike individuals that are rulers of realms, um, advanced creation. They have transcended into higher understanding and technologies and powers, and they ended up becoming misguided. But in the eternal, which God is, and that there is a time that it is going to end, then God does not interfere with the will of men or creation, because it has free will. And because of free will, people and individuals have made these agreements, soul contracts, over eons ago. And we have been stuck in this karmic cycle of repetitiveness over and over and over again for their power and their control, until it was time for that to be expired. Now is the time of the expiration, and people have actually had their DNA, because their DNA always had to have the complete creation DNA as well, the creator DNA, even though it was suppressed and never supposed to become active, started to become active, and in becoming active, started to activate other individuals' creator DNA to coming online. And as that increased and grew, enough people began to wake up and said, no more. We want help. We want change. And not from you're desiring it as a person, you're doing it from your spirit, and that it is aligning with the universal laws. And in doing so, that has been completely, those old contractual soul agreements have now been voided. They have been torn down, and it can never be reestablished here in our existence anymore. We're moving forward, and we're moving forward in our spiritual maturity on into our development into 5D. But when you're talking about eternity, this has been only a small fraction of linear time, that outside of linear time in all other higher dimensions is completely irrelevant. It's not that the small amount of time didn't happen, but it did. And the individuals that experienced it are experiencing the shadow, the darkness of the very dense and heavy energies that will actually help their spirits and their souls going forward into the rest of eternity. Not everybody's focus is so linear because it's all we know, and that it's just this. But it's not just this. It's been bazillions of freaking years before and after. And so even if you're talking about, 500,000 years on this earth, which is not, but even if we were, that's still only a drop in the bucket of eternity of before and after of all creation and all of the existence of creation. We are so programmed that this is so much, but if we take into the perspective in which we've been taught, one day is but like 1,000 years in the presence of God. So 1,000 years of us is like, that's, now that's 12 or 13 generations, but it's only been a day for God. And so the more you get in touch with who you are, truly who you are, and the spirit that is in you, and begin to have a much bigger picture of the right this minute in the bigger picture isn't even a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the existence of time that you have all been participants in and came here under the full understanding of what you're participating in right now. And a lot of the, like I said before, a lot of the suffering and a lot of the trauma that has happened, a lot of that are NPCs, a part of the holographic system, and not actually soul, spirit, creation.
How you doing on time, Captain?
Got 10 minutes.
All right, let's go. All right, Kelly, go for it.
Okay, Linda asks, why are many Anons pushing gold, silver, and foreign currency when the way I understand it, we aren't going to need it in the new world? It's all a little confusing. Thank you for all you do.
because it's part of the stage show of preparing for the transition between the between. Um, it's like, what are you doing to prepare yourself and preparing your financial future, so to speak, right now, so that when we do have the transition will be easier for you and your family to a much larger magnitude. But 10 years down the road, are you really going to need it? No, you're not. And so I've put myself in a lot of good financial situations, but I have not gone overboard with anything. And in reality, I spend my money like a drunken sailor. I do. I enjoy the shit out of my money on purpose, because we are supposed to enjoy ourselves here and have some semblance of experience. And I don't give my wife a hard time either about being a freaking shopaholic, because she loves it. She's got more stuff than 3 wives should have. And do I give her a hard time because she's got no place for it all? Yeah, I do. But it's like every day, it's like freaking Amazon or the UPS or somebody's dropping stuff. And actually, I carry her stuff up to her. She's usually upstairs. I pick it up off the porch and take it upstairs. And I always say, hey, it's Captain Santa. And so, you can be smart about your financial situation, which is wise to do. But to do anything excess, meaning that you got putting all your money into gold and silver and savings, and you are just worried about you're missing today. You're missing today. And today is the only thing real. And you're not, if you died, you're not taking it with you. So put things into perspective and not to do anything in excess, whatever it is. Anything in excess is a bad thing. Even good things are bad if you do it excessively. That's my
Okay,
advice.
Linda Valentine would like to know, are we still maybe going to have robots working during the year-long celebration, like you said in another video?
So yeah, they are starting to come out. I don't know how many they've made, how far they're down the path of that right now, and how much of a celebration is right now from May to July of next year, or is it July next year that everything really gets to the point where it's like that's the place and time where we don't actually do anything anymore, or that during that whole transition from Memorial Day to July, it becomes more and more where we are in official celebration, but we're still having to, keep things going. But how much and to what extent, that's what's been the hardest part to try to figure out right now. And so don't really know that transition and how well it is. And I've talked to Kelly many times about this, and that they're still putting it out there that it's a year-long celebration. But what are they actually meaning by that celebration? To what degree and how much, and what does it actually truly mean in our functions from a daily life? That's what we're trying to figure out. And I mean, eventually we're gonna figure it out. And I think that it will become more and more over time, the less and less we will need to do to keep the wheels greased and rolling. All right, so let's do one more question, Kelly.
Okay. Do you think the RV for Tier 4D will go before the financial collapse?
It's supposed to, but how it's going to work out, I'm not really sure. And like I said, it can't really truly go until all of the trade agreements are formally done. And I believe they are done, but they haven't been made public as they were all done. And that's important, is the public disclosure of them being done. They keep insinuating that they're going to start getting to a point where they're just going to make a blanket agreement of what we're going to charge, and this is how it's going to be. I think that in itself is key for them saying, okay, this is the blanket, this is where it's going to be, and we've already done the formalities of the individual things, and that this is us just telling the public, making public notification. And at that point, I think that anything can happen at any given time. But we're getting freaking close, and everything could change in a freaking day. We see how much can happen over just a day or two. Hell, look what Trump did over 3 days.
Yeah, huge.
I mean, hell, he stops a war between India and Pakistan. He gets Trump and Zelensky and Putin to basically stand down and come to a trade agreement. I mean, he, does a deal with Saudi Arabia for just under $1 trillion, and then it comes back at $1 trillion. Today, he actually gets another 1.2 trillion from Qatar. I mean, it's just every day it's something massively huge that it just everything changes so quickly. So, we could wake up and anytime and then just be everything just completely flipped on its head. So
Captain,
that's how it's going to go down. Yeah.
may I please read this last statement and address it? Sandy said, "Thank you, Captain, and all of you for your hard work. I know, Captain, that you always say that you enjoy your money, but most of us are struggling to just pay our bills." And Sandy, I'm on that other end of the spectrum from Captain. I'm right there with you. So, and there are a lot of people here in our boat. And all I can say is that I do believe with the bottom of my heart that we will be getting some financial relief soon. So just hang in there, honey.
So never when I say that I enjoy my money, and it doesn't have anything to do. I give away and take care of more people and do things for people on a continuous basis. And that I've been put in a position to where I am in alignment with the blessings in which I have. And I don't chase them. I don't chase my future. I don't chase my success. I have aligned with it a long time ago spiritually, and I have allowed those blessings to come find me. I don't worry about them. I don't worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. I just show up. And the circumstances that I may be in have absolutely nothing to do with me not understanding the financial situations that other people are in. That is why I have made the statement many, many times that we are not all in the same boat. We are all in the same storm. Some people don't have a boat. Some people don't have a life raft. Some people don't have a life jacket. Some people don't have a freaking float to float on. Some people don't even have anything other than that they're treading water, period. But what people have to understand, and I am not going to apologize for this, is that each and every one of us has made the agreement of where we are at and experiencing the things in which we're in right this minute before we ever came here. It's not an accident. You are in the exact place that your soul made the agreement to show up in and to experience it fully in this specific time and these events. 110%. And if I was to do anything to change, I would actually be interfering with your soul contract and avoiding what you had made an agreement to actually participate in. We need to understand more about what's spiritually going on here and not what's going on in the physical realm, because this is a spiritual journey. This is a spiritual battle, and everything is from the spirit. This is only temporal of our physical existence. That's why I just made this statement earlier that everything is focused on the suffering of right now. I have suffered dearly through my 58 years on this planet. Am I suffering right this second? I am not personally, but I have other circumstances that are pressing upon me and my existence in different ways. But I have actually suffered greatly. I have been to the point where the only way to survive was to go to the church and to go to the food pantry to help take care of my family, to be able to even eat. I understand how humbling that is? I do. I know what it is to walk in those shoes. It was a part of my journey. It was a part of my experience. And I have actually participated in all of these circumstances.
Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Kelly. Great show once again, everybody. Thank you for your participation. Captain's here and Kelly's here with us every other Wednesday, everybody. So come back and join us if you didn't get your questions answered. He'll be back. I mean, Captain, if you ever want to come on more often than you do, I know you're busy. You're more than welcome, you and Kelly. So with that, everybody, we will see you on Friday. We will have Alpha Warrior over on my X Space. And then Field McConnell will be over here on Telegram. And Captain, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
And then watch for his show. It's coming up. I think what'd you say, Kelly? Saturday with Colonel Bosey?
Yes, no, Friday in the US at 7 p.m. Central, and then it would be Saturday for the Army.
Noon. Yes, noonish on Australia time.
Okay, cool. All right, so everybody tune in for Captain Kyle and Kelly and Colonel Bosey on Friday, our time here in the States. And then again, Kelly, thank you for reading the questions. Captain, we love you guys. Have a great weekend, rest of your week, and we will talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.